It's been said he knows when Santa's sleeping. A man so wise the Dalai Lama seeks venues with him. Also a man so intelligent he knows to ball check tie hookers before taking them home. That's right, the one, the only, Mr. Dean Cooper, tonight's superfan co-host as he rescues my ass from a dropped away guest. Hey, that's right. Come join us tonight on the most serious of topics. Did the MIB really show up and confiscate Bigfoot evidence? That's what we're talking about tonight. I'm the host of this mess. Look at me. I'm still Jeff. Merry Christmas, Yuletide, winter solstice, Kwanzaa to you all. Me, the guy who looks like Santa Claus, intelligent enough to ball check those tie hookers. Looky there, Mr. Dean Cooper. How you doing, sir?
I'm getting an after echo from you.
Well, hopefully it'll disappear a little later because not much we can do about it now.
I know what I got to do. I got to go like this. There. I got to shut off. I got to close the YouTube window.
Yeah, there you go. That
definitely I was looking out there because I got all these friggin' links open for finding stuff with Men in Black hiding Bigfoot bones or whatever, and I forgot to close the YouTube one.
Close the YouTube one because that's the one that'll keep echoing in your ear. That gets confusing. It does for sure. Because there's like a 5-second delay, and it's really kind of annoying. You can't leave that stuff go. All right. Anyhow, on with tonight's show. The Christmas edition of the Squatters Lounge podcast. Got a little bit of teeny bit of news for you. If you guys have to eat the news, this is the show for y'all. We got just a little bit of news for you. Like, it is the Christmas season and nobody's talking cryptids. Live science, livescience.com. We see species may have been polygynous. I guess sort of like not monogamous, but the opposite of that. Basically, like you think of it like a bear. The ancient relative of humanity, dubbed Lucy, may have been one of the harem of gals who mated with a single mate, according to the research that suggests her species. Polygynous. Gynecology? I don't know. Among the earliest known relatives of humanity whose skeletons were made for walking upright was Australopithecus afarensis. Yeah, afarensis. God, I'm having a hard time with these things.
You could just say read this one.
Included the famed 3.2 million year old Lucy. Members of this group, known as the Australopithecines, are among the leading candidates for the direct ancestors of the human lineage, living about 2.9 million to 3.8 million years ago in East Africa. Well, besides, we're the only ones that think monogamy is even a choice in the ape world. Nobody else out there. The gorillas have harems, the chimps have harems, the orangutan harems. But, well, they do because it's one male in an area and the females are in just like this is. So, who's to say why we choose to be this way? But I guess it's ethics. Well, religion? Probably.
I think it's just the religious thing, yeah. That's about it.
So. Maybe in another 100 years, we'll see where, men are gone back to living with several females who don't all hate each other. Anyhow, maybe the Mormons got it right.
There are a few ancient societies where the woman had several husbands. I think
absolutely. But what good would that do for the furthering of mankind? That would kind of screw things up. But anyhow, the water bear's secret, right. The only animal that can survive in space has a seriously weird DNA. Amazing. The seemingly indestructible animals are the only ones known to survive the vacuum of space. And now researchers publishing in report 1/6 of their DNA comes from foreign organisms. Wow. Tardigrades. That's what I want to call it. Tardigrades? How do you pronounce that when they're
TARDIS graduates? I don't know. They live with Doctor Who.
No, a tardigrade here.
Doctor Who brought them.
Yeah, exactly. The researcher said surviving extreme temperatures by withstanding
desiccation.
Yeah, God
desiccation, drying out.
Yeah, that's the word. That's where it sucks all the water out of you. Yeah, man, they were still there from Captain Dyslexia over here to be able to finish that word. When they dry out, their DNA breaks into small, tiny pieces. When they rehydrate and repair their DNA, they take in foreign DNA through temporary leaked cell membranes. This genetic variation has likely made these little bastards evolve more tricks to help them withstand harsh environments. Wow. So they steal somebody else's pieces to put their own DNA back together.
But it doesn't. Here's what bothered me about that article, because I saw it online too. 5-6 days ago. They where are they getting the other DNA from? Are they taking it from other tardigrades that desiccated next to them?
Hard to say. Are they taking it from your hand when you're picking it up?
Yeah, because if they're doing that, how do they be a tardigrade and not like part of a human finger?
Not a triceratops?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, not have a giant ear hanging out the side of them and dragging them down.
How do they do
I don't
that?
know. Very strange. They're going to have to keep saying it. I have personally found tardigrades myself.
They're all over the place.
Oh, they're just their eyeballs and just
little. Right. They're in ponds, some mud puddles and stuff. They're all over the place.
And finally tonight, a little bit of what was once a hoax has now come true. Elusive, exclusive, stunning new photos of an isolated tribe yield surprises. Deep in the Brazilian rainforest, these protected Indians freely pursue a timeless way of living. That's right, no iPhones. No Hardee's, no Burger King, no McDonald's, digital TV, just a dude, butts flat here, and his bow and arrow. I mean, the macaw's hanging out. He's just chilling on the top of the hut. He's just rolling around on his back like, ha, ha, ha. Apparently, a low-flying helicopter was in the area. And, let's see here. The area photographs of isolated tribe of Brazilian rainforest are yielding a sensational new look at a Neolithic way of life that has us all disappeared from the earth. The high-resolution image is taken from a helicopter last week by Brazilian photographer Ricardo Stuckert. Goes together, but it does. Offered an unprecedented glimpse of a vibrant indigenous community living in complete isolation in the depths of the Amazon jungle. National Geographic obtained first rights from Stuckert to publish a selection of those pictures, and here they are.
Hey,
I mean, dude is like, all right, so he sees.
Jeff, I get suspicious whenever I see a German name in South America. Stuckert.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
it's kind of wonder. Yeah.
Ricardo Stuckert. It's like, is that a retired Nazi? I don't know. But, dude's like bow. He laces up his bow, man. He ain't play. He's the devil gone down to Georgia because he's looking for a deal because he's way behind because he's getting that bow laced up. He ain't gonna play. He's gonna stick a stick in whatever that flying contraption is over there, making his world an isolated mess. I mean, could you imagine? How do you explain that to your kid? The tattoo guy over here. I mean, dude, is that paint? Is that tattoo? I don't know. They say it's intricate body paint.
It's tattoo. I think it's paint, body paint.
Tattoo myself too. Well, they're saying here, right, a close up of an Indian with an extraordinary intricate body paint. But you got to let these people be. You can't some pictures of them now. But just like Bigfoot, if we got a bunch of pictures of Bigfoot in, say, Oregon somewhere, specifically in a particular park, where now all of a sudden when people go there, they can encounter these Bigfoot all the time, that's the crap of them. People are going to flock there, to have that Bigfoot experience because you're going to find them for sure in Oregon in this particular park. But should they? He's contact with these people. Do you really go back again, or do you go on foot and let them kill you? or at least have the chance to kill you.
Well, it depends if you find oil under their village or not.
Right. Or gold in their creek,
Yeah.
or rubies in their huts that they've been using as chew toys for their kids.
Yeah.
Those we've all heard those absolute horror stories. So you can check this one actually just came across my feed right before we went out. I mean, look at these people. They're literally like they're hiding in the bushes, just terrified of whatever this flying demon thing in the sky is. And it's just be the guy that terrorizes those people. To do is drop in Obama phones. If you're going to take the helicopters in there, you need to drop in a bunch of Obama phones and solar chargers. That way these people can get on the internet and they can learn, everything that we know.
I bet they'd take them and break them open to see if there's anything edible inside of them.
Probably at first.
Well, that's what I would.
It might take a kid. It'd be a 3 or 4 year old that picks it up and gets on Google, and makes their first makes their first wind generator. The next thing you know, they're powering all the Obama phones down there because he made the first wind turbine off of the internet. Hey, might be their way back to technology. Is there a responsibility to bring these people to technology? That becomes a good question. It's like, why should these people who were born into this tribe have to force to be living in this type of situation when easier way of lives are available? It's not their choice to live in the jungle in this dissolution tribe. They're dropped out of the hole there.
Yeah, scroll down a bit. That looks like they say something down a little lower there. That's stuff. State of Acre, I guess that's the Brazilian, up a bit now, back up. Enforces strict vigilance over its forests and indigenous inhabitants. So as long as that state of Acre, or Acre probably, they're protecting those guys for now, it says.
Right, yeah. But the illegal loggers and the gold prospectors and the drug traffickers, and they don't give a crap. So that'll be what comes of those people as the story unfolds. There you go, people. The Squatchers Lounge news for us tonight. Short and sweet, promised. Dean, being my super fan co-host tonight, as I very much appreciate, has also brought us a quasi for this evening. So let's get that bad boy queued up here, and we'll see what the quasi theory for Christmas's podcast is going to end up being. Quasi theories with Mr. Dean Cooper.
Oh boy.
And now, quasi theories from a quasi scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
Santa is the king of the gods. Santa Claus, aka St. Nicholas, is a fraud foisted on us pagans during the Christianization of Germanic. There, I said it. St. Nicholas, who lived in the late 3rd and early 4th century, belonged to a wealthy family and is most famous for saving 3 poor young sisters from a probable life of probable prostitution by giving them money for their dowries and thereby getting them married off. Why a man getting paid off to marry a woman doesn't make the man a hooker beats the hell out of me. But that is neither here nor there. The main point is that Nicholas gave away presents. His birthday is celebrated on January 6th. He was a skinny bugger, apparently, may or may not have had a beard, and certainly didn't have much hair. His daddy, another priest, this was before the whole priest couldn't get married, couldn't have sex silliness came about, gave him a tonsure when he ordained his little Nicky into the priesthood. A tonsure is the weird, partly shaved head sort of haircut they were into back then. Old St. Nick didn't have diddly to do with December 25th, which is when the old pagan world celebrated the winter solstice. Why they did so on the 25th is a bit of a mystery, since they jolly well knew the solstice oscillates between the 20th and the 23rd. It was probably because the latest sunrise of the year is a couple of days after the actual solstice, and in the winter, you really want that sun to start coming up earlier and earlier. Making it a fixed date made it easier to know when you had to get all your solstice shopping done by, too. Now, what happened on the solstice and who did what that most closely resembles what our Santa Claus did, taking into consideration that Santa first started showing up in Germanic and Nordic Europe? The solstice is when Odin, the king of the gods, rode the midwinter sky on his 8-footed horse, Sleipnir, distributing gifts to all his people. Odin, Woden, Wotan, also known as Yulnir, who was the lord of the Yuletide. Woden, with long white hair and long white beard, stout of figure. Odin, the leader of the wild hunt, the hunt that most often occurred at midwinter, hunting the souls of the departed, accompanied by his Valkyries. The good children of Odin got presents, the bad got the wild hunt. Odin was also the lord of Elfheim, the home of the elves, and those elves were not little guys who wanted to be dentists. They were fierce warriors, they were. Fall into place. This is what Christianity has left us with. No more Roman Saturnalia at the winter solstice with its orgies and feasts. No more wild hunts with Valkyries. No king of the gods. Just jolly fat man in a silly red suit. You may read the text of this on my blog at bydean.com. It's BHAIDIN.com.
There's a funny fat man in a silly red suit, stuck in the smoke hole of our teepee.
Well, there you have it. Santa Claus is king of the gods. That's right. That's why I wish people happy Yule. You know, it's funny. I was just sitting here thinking about it. The Christmas song is one of my favorite songs to sing around Christmas time. You know, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. And I got to thinking about it. It doesn't really have much to do with Christmas at all. It has everything to do with Yuletide carols being sung by a choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos, but not really a damn thing to do with about a baby being born in a manger somewhere in the Middle East. So it's these crazy mixed up things that just, you know, what is Christmas really about? I have no idea, because you people have made us so confused over the years that this is what it's turned into. So yeah, it is the winter solstice, and with the winter solstice comes crazy stuff like camping tips for stupids. That's right now on the Squatchers Lounge podcast. Can you imagine camping tips for stupids Christmas edition?
Stupids. Tip number 28. Christmas edition. How to celebrate Christmas America style. Christmas is an American tradition, celebrated all over the world in all sorts of heathen pagan ways. But here in America, we celebrate it in the good Christian way. And in this special edition of Camping Tips for Stupids, I'm going to show you all how we do it America style. Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Christ our Lord and Savior, and diluter of expensive wine. Guess he's a lightweight. And here in America, we celebrate that by displaying the nativity scene out on our front lawns. With a little white baby Jesus, all blue-eyed and blonde-haired, and with his human parents, that guy and some girl. And with the three wise men, Ted Nugent, Chuck Norris, and Kenny Rogers, all bringing gifts to the newborn baby Jesus. 3 brand new H&K AR lower receivers, each custom plated in gold, frankincense, and American flag. There's also a goat involved, but most of 2D knows that it's all happening in a barn or something. And to top it all off, had a whole division of stormtroopers and an ATST to protect it from all them terrorists. Now, Christmas lights show your worth to the aliens high above up in orbit. So be sure to put as many lights on your house as possible and let them know who loves America more. A Christmas tree is probably the most important part of America Christmas. No pussy liberal 4-foot-tall blue spruce shit in my house. With America Christmas, we use our de-engineered UFO technology and Black Hawk helicopters to bring in a true West Coast giant redwood. Just airlift that shit and drop it down into the corner of our living room and have it custom decorated by Boba Fett with his trusty jetpack. And forget that silly ass door wreath. Truck nuts. Now we're celebrating Christmas America style. This has been Camping Tips for Stupids. Merry fucking Christmas. And pass the ammunition.
Wow.
Good one. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Who was it? Kenny Rogers, Ted Nugent, and
Clint Eastwood.
No, Nick Nolte. No, not Nick Nolte.
No, it was Clint Eastwood.
No, Clint Eastwood was Joseph.
Oh yeah.
It was Kenny Rogers, the guy with a fist in his beard, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And Ted Nugent were the three wise men. Frankincense.
Yeah.
Oh, frankincense and myrrh. Oh my God, Jim. God bless you, America style. America. The only place where Christmas is as confusing as sexuality when you're 12. Next on Sex Talk Live, masturbation. Yes or no? Let's see who's crazy to be out here a couple of days before Christmas in the hangout. Live people out here tonight. Look at that. And speaking of the devil, Mr. Life and Times of JCM, the Jesus Christ of Jevin Moore himself. That's right. Oh, look here, the other guy. Now, batting third, our senators are Kurt Harris. You know, as sick as I've been, I've got a bunch of kin all over my damn self again. It's just, got that one on the microphone. Just, how you doing, Gin? No, he doesn't smell like Irish Spring, and they never gave me anything. But still, I bust my chest and sing my drunken Irish dad. How you doing there, McGinty? Oh, my voice is just about done, Dean. I'm glad this is going to be a short one tonight. James the grower. Hey, Buck, the Bigfoot guy. We're so going to record that for you as a little hit. I swear. We're going to have you on the show come the new season as well. I have a lot of people on the show come the new season. Who else is hanging out there as well? Mr. Collier Wilmus. That's right. Rod Dupree is in the place to be. And let's see, we're going to scroll up here just a bit and see who else is hanging out tonight. Starshine, how you doing, Starshine? So glad you're with us. She's always hanging out. She's like our super cheerleader. It's going to be one of those nights, I'm sure. Jason Gerd, that's right, the water bear. That's what we were talking about. Those things are just weird. Chicago and beyond. Glad you could turn in for your first time. We like to say hi to people that are hiding out there. Flame Dancer 44. That's right. Santa Bear. And Santa Claus. Sinterklaas. Ho Jivo. Whoever that guy was. That's my favorite one in the Santa Claus. Those are probably my favorite Santa Claus movies. You know, Tim Allen. The third one was kind of, I don't know. Let's see who else is hiding out there. Let's get to the top of this thing because I don't think I've missed anybody so far. Nope, those are the people that were here. So if you didn't say hi, I don't know you're here. And if you're not here, I don't blame you because it's like right before Christmas. Oh, there's Patrick Cassidy. How you doing there? James the Grower. If I didn't say hi, I surely have now. That looks like everybody that's out there. Dean, usually we'd say Dean Cooper, but of course he's sitting over here as Mr. Cooper tonight. Oh, wow.
I was in there a bit.
That was a fast half hour. Yeah, see, on my scroll, like if I scroll all the way to the top, it doesn't show me like all the way back to the very beginning. It only shows me so far back, and then it just stops. So, who knows? If you were there earlier and I missed you, so sorry. We'll catch you next time. So to get into it tonight, Dean and I we've kind of been stretching our brains here a bit. We wanted to talk about the MIBs and Bigfoot. Now, here come the men in black. Let's get an idea of exactly what the MIBs are supposed to be. I actually have a wiki article of all things that just ought to be type of an explanation from cryptids.wikia.com. Wiki on Men in Black tells us that they have entirely too much advertising. The Men in Black, sometimes abbreviated to the acronym MIB, coined by John Keel, are strangers dressed in black suits who witnesses into silence. They also harness witnesses into paranormal events to keep them quiet about what they have seen. The MIB usually travel in a group of 3 and drive black cars. They show otherworldly behaviors, such as trying to drink Jell-O or not knowing what a ballpoint pen is. Seem to have advanced technology. One woman even claimed that the Men in Black took part of her memory. The MIB were often seen after Mothman sightings and Dover demon sightings. They told witnesses of both creatures not to talk about their experiences. The strange men are seen as sort of a damage control. It is sometimes said they may be government agents or even aliens themselves. There are also women in black or female MIBs, but they are very rarely seen. Modern accounts, Men in Black figure prominently in UFO folklore. In 1947, Harold Dahl claimed to have been warned not to talk about his alleged UFO sighting on Maury Island by a man in a dark suit. When the skunk ape phenomenon was popular, a group investigating him and hair samples stolen from them by 2 men in sunglasses and dark suits driving a black sedan. In the mid-1950s, ufology, they didn't spell it right. That's the guy. Albert Bender claimed he was visited by men in dark suits who threatened and warned him not to continue investigating UFOs. Bender believed Men in Black were secret government agents tasked with suppressing evidence of UFOs. The late ufologist John Keane claimed to have encounters with Men in Black and referred to them as demonic supernaturals. Where have we heard that before, Mr. Dean Cooper?
Fairies.
And dark skin and or exotics, according to ufologist Jerome Clark. Reports of Men in Black represent experiences that don't seem to have occurred in the world consensus of reality. Past accounts of demons. Folklorist Peter Rosewitz, another German. Anyhow, it's a conspiracy.
He's not in Brazil, though.
No, he's not. That's true. Compared Men in Black accounts to tales of people encountering the devil, and speculated that they could be considered kind of psychological drama. For example, in the 1850 novel The Secret Letter, the black man is used as a euphemism for Satan, who is said to haunt the forest. And Washington's Ivory story, The Devil and Tom Walker, includes the character of Satan named as the Black Man. In 1932, H.P. Lovecraft also used the figure of the black man in his tale, The Dreams in the Witch House, as a synonym for Satan.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
Exactly. In popular culture, the first appearances of Men in Black, of course, were in the 1984 film, The Brother from Another Planet. See, you were thinking Men in Black, that ain't right. In this film, John Sayles himself and David Strathairn, that's a whole lot of weirdness there, both credited as Man in Black, are aliens in search of an escaped alien slave, the titular brother. Wow. So, Men in Black and Bigfoot, apparently during the 1947s and the 1950s skunk apes situations, which, I didn't know skunk ape really went back that far. apparently the MIBs came and stole hair samples and, tried to intimidate witnesses. That's kind of creepy.
I didn't see that one when I was going blind looking up Men in Black and Bigfoot incidences, but
right.
Yeah, I never heard of that one before. Especially since back then DNA hadn't been discovered yet, so I don't know why they're collecting DNA evidence and hiding it. So that one.
Well, they were collecting hair samples to be. I mean, you can identify animals with hair. I mean, we've done that for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. You can
Under a
do that,
microscope,
but,
they would have been collecting the hair samples. I don't know about DNA samples and blood samples, but that's just kind of creepy that, because the skunk ape situation in Florida. Now, the Seminoles will tell you of stories just like the Cherokee will of Hairy Man.
Yeah.
And the hairy tribe who lives in the woods, and they're not to be approached and they're not to be hassled. But the problem with that is the Seminoles are not a tribe of themselves. They are now, they're solidified now, but the Seminoles were the original tribe. Seminole were runaways. They were people who were sick and tired of fighting it out, in the lower states, and they just ran to the swamps of Florida, figuring nobody would ever want it. They were like, we'll just come here and settle here. Nobody wants. It's been empty for 300 years. They can't possibly want this piece of crap land. Well,
I actually knew that one, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. The Seminole, there's a Cherokee word that means Seminole. The Seminoles won't actually agree to that. But anyhow, the Seminoles are made up of many tribes of the South. There's Cherokees, there's Sioux. It was a funnel. Basically, anybody that didn't want to run to the Trail of Tears ran to Florida, the swamps, and hid. And, there's always been stories. Did those stories come from the Carolinas when they came down there? Or were they news stories that they were still experiencing? The Seminole tribes are of so many different storylines. How much of it is contemporary and how much of it is brought with them as superstition type of thing? But then to have a Men in Black story.
I'm surprised you even say that relative to Native American peoples having stories about the hairy man.
Well,
because pretty much all of them do.
That across the board, there. I don't think there's too many tribes that don't believe in some kind of a larger human-like tribe who lives in the mountains, and their own. They own the mountains. The mountains are to be respected because of that. A lot of times in the winter times, their tribal camps were in the mountains because that's actually where it was warmer. Not on the plains and the lower elevations is where all that cold air friggin' settles. Yeah. So they actually move up into encampments that are higher up on the mountains, and they didn't want to encroach too far up the mountains as to get into the hairy man's territory. And that's where the stories of. We were told stories as we were little kids and young teens where the Braves would be out in deer camps, so there's little camps outside of the big camp, and 4 or 5 Braves would ride out and they would go out looking for meat, for their portion of whatever. And they're out there flint knapping heads, and they're making arrowheads, and they got their own little campments and stuff that are out there. And they say that there are times when, they would be telling each other stories that the hairy man would come in and sit on the edge of the firelight, like not close enough for them to see him, but just like they can hear them come in and just sit just outside of that firelight, and they just wouldn't move. And, the deal was if you were ever out camping like that and you heard that type of thing, you were just supposed to respect them enough to not encroach on them, and they'll leave on their own. But if you went over there messing with them.
Jeff, do you know any tribal legends of the Men in Black?
Yeah. Well, that was what I was getting to.
I mean, we got to try to get the Men in Black in here somehow, even though there's other than people talking about it all the time. But there's almost we couldn't find much of anything where people actually had Men in Black come and tell them not to talk about Bigfoot.
Right. We had
a handful of stories is about it.
Season 3, David and I did the show on the whole Men in Black coming and covering up the attack, the Sasquatch attack in Texas, the broken, the ripped up camp story and all of that. And,
which was a bullshit story to begin with. But
The camp story was real. The camp video was real. They actually found a camp that was pretty messed up. I mean, there was a fire log rolled into the camp. The tent was ripped
Unlikely
up.
a Sasquatch did it.
Most likely a drunken jackass attack is most likely what really happened. There was a couple of guys got drunk, got fighting. One of them really got hurt, so they got the hell out of there and went and got help. I mean, that's really what most likely happened. But somehow that story got drug into kids with their heads ripped off and hung in trees and all kind of big shootout and Sasquatch prints all over the place. And, it was on all the tabloid Bigfoot shows, as I call them. There's a place for all of that, I guess. But, that's when the men in black were harassing this man and following his family all over the place and bugging his phone and taking down his YouTube channel and changing his Facebook login. And I just,
yeah. But then there is the fact that government agents took Rick Dyer's Sasquatch body away from him.
That's the other one that we can find on the net.
That's the other one that kept popping up. Yeah, when I was searching.
Rick Dyer claims the MIBs came and stole his Bigfoot, but that was Hank, and somehow he got Hank back because he went on tour with Hank after he claimed the MIB stole Hank. Somehow he miraculously goes on tour with Hank, and of course, we come to find out later. I don't know too many people.
Hank was sounds more like Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo. Because Rick Dyer's full of shit.
Yeah, pretty much selling cars in Daytona Beach these days. That's what old Tricky Dicky's up to. That's good for him. That's awesome. I just wonder how many people who've ever been contacted by the MIB would check out there that they've actually been contacted by the MIB. And maybe that's why we can't find any stories of it floating around on the internet.
Yeah, we could say stuff like this for another hour to fill up the airtime, I guess.
Now, one of the things we did find, you did find a section of a book, the Bigfoot book, from
Nick Redfern.
Yeah, Nick Redfern. When they're talking about, and he mentioned that the legendary macabre Men in Black inevitably invokes imaginary of X-Files type nature, imagery filled with tales of conspiracy and cover-up. It is, in fact, however, a decidedly strange fact, too, that MIB don't just turn up in UFO-related events. They have seemed to have a deep fascination for strange creatures, too. In 1967, the MIB appeared in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, when sightings of the famous red-eyed winged Mothman were at their heights. Then in the early 1970s, the lake monster researcher named Ted Holliday had a MIB encounter on the shores of Loch Ness, all of which brings us to the MIB Bigfoot connection. And this is literally the only thing that we could really find in print
pretty much,
talk about the MIB and Bigfoot at all. I mean, it was really very strange, particularly because you've got stories of like Mount St. Helens. Does the government and military have Sasquatch or two on ice or alive in captivity? According to the rumor mill, in May of 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, and the loss of life to both people and the wild animal population was considerable. There were claims that several Bigfoot bodies, some believed to be still alive but injured, were whisked away to a secret military government facility. Is that the type of thing that the MIB would do? Okay, Agent X, Bigfoot's screwed. Mount St. Helens is erupted. He ain't got nowhere to go. So go get the cage.
Maybe they needed the DNA from them to produce, super soldiers.
Super soldiers. Well, that's what the Nazis wanted. The Nazis wanted the ape, man. Now, the Nazis were after the Yeti, and their KGMIB, the KGB were after the Yeti type things. The MIB are so secretive, you just don't hear, anything. Why would the government Bigfoot or Sasquatch secret. You know, and that becomes the main question. I don't think that they would. You know, taking the look that we have, you know, the MIB are not really looking into Bigfoot. I mean, let's be honest. I've got hundreds, half a thousand shows on the internet of me openly talking about Bigfoot investigations, Bigfoot investigators, events, evidence, Bigfoot possible howls. I mean, stuff that really could be linked directly to a unknown animal in North America, and I haven't been silenced yet.
Well, maybe it's because you and David debunk about 2/3 of the sightings and things that you talk about.
Well, that's because we have to keep our faces. We're working for them. We're government shills and didn't know it, damn it. I would need to get my government shield.
You two are men in black. You two are part of it. You two are preventing the discovery of Bigfoot.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We're preventing the discovery of Bigfoot.
I believe you guys.
To be totally honest with you, I don't know that the discovery of Bigfoot's ever going to be a good thing. It will prove that a bunch of us weren't crazy. I mean, that's what it'll really do. But outside of that, the black market for Bigfoot hunts, once Bigfoot is proven to be a real thing in America, real trackers, real pieces of shit in the world will come here and start killing them and taking them as trophies. And so I don't necessarily want to really rush out and have them listed on the American wild animal list.
Yeah, but you got some guys out there now who have pretty decent trackers who are already not finding them.
Well, they're not putting. Okay, there's a group out there who's had like 70 eyewitnesses, like viewings of it in the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're seeing it, they're tracking it, they know where it is. They just haven't killed it yet. You know, that opportunity hasn't really come about. Outside of them,
which group was that one?
That's the NAWC guys in eastern, in southeastern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to their website. There's a bunch of data that they have when they have sighting. Yeah, but if you go through and you add it up, you know, 70 sightings over 7 years, that's 10 sightings a season, and somebody's out there on their site pretty much 24/7, 365. So when you put people in the field in a location where you know you have Bigfoot activity, you're going to strum up that kind of activity. As long as you log it and data file it, then you know you can reasonable source for information. You know, so
which still surprised because I wasn't sure who you meant, but then when you said it, I know about them. But it still surprises me that they haven't gotten any good pictures yet.
Well, that was the other thing is, you know, they've completely stopped using trail cams altogether. They're every time they put a trail cam up, the activity in that area dies. Now, I don't know why that is, but they've made a coalition to it, so they've stopped using trail cameras. So that's going to pretty much lend itself to not having any pictures of it. Yeah. But as long as they're able to and put bullet with habit together, then a picture is going to be irrelevant. You're going to have a body on the table instead, and that's more their function. They're a pro-kill organization, and that's their ultimate goal, is to put one in the back of a truck and use it for scientific study. And I'm down with that. I totally understand why you would do that. So they're not really pushing to get pictures. They're looking to push more encounters, more visual sights on it. And they've had chances to pull the trigger, but more under thermal, and they haven't done it because it may still be a person. And you don't want to pull the trigger if you don't know 100% for sure that it's not a human being. As far as what's under the thermal, not knowing if it's a Bigfoot or not.
Well,
they literally aren't going to pull the trigger unless they can visually see that it is a Sasquatch and not a person. You know, then they'll pull the trigger. So they're at least being responsible about it as well. I think he said that they had like 12 encounters where they could have pulled the trigger and didn't.
Yeah, because think if they had to cover up that they killed somebody. Think of all the hair they'd have to glue to the body.
They committed suicide out here. We saw them. They hung themselves from a tree and then shot themselves 12 times.
Yeah.
But in the end of it, I don't buy the whole MIB going to investigating. I've never been contacted by a government official. I've never been contacted by a local official who told me to shut the hell up. I've had a bunch of non-fans tell me to shut the F up, but I don't really consider you people's suggestions on a regular basis anyhow.
Yeah, that's kind of a daily occurrence, isn't it?
Out of the thousands of views that we get, I get one or two jackasses that think I need to make the show for them. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but we're working on it. Season 5's coming. That's right. We're actually going to wrap this edition of the Squatchers Lounge podcast up. Dean's actually going to be joining me again next week. He's going to be able to lead his own superfan show where we talk about Bigfoot burying their own dead.
Yep, I found.
Now, that's the subject that we can wrap our teeth around.
Yeah, found a lot about that.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody for watching. We're gonna have an after hangout if you want to hang out for a little bit. And Merry Yuletide greetings, and being sung by a choir and all that good stuff. Until next week, may the Squatch be with you. Yeah. And,
good night.
And all of your friends and relatives too. And yeah, I forgot to put the picture up. You know me. Ding, ding. Santa Claus, the Men in Black, and UFOs all in the same picture. Strangeness on a level. Make sure to ball check your tie hookers before taking them home. I think that's more of a New Year's hit. And